Okay, so we're going to talk briefly now about the cool phenomenon of electroplating. So the way electroplating works, right, again has to do with the electrolytic cell and electrolysis. With electroplating, essentially what we're doing is we're using electrolysis to coat a material with a layer of metal. And although there are a lot of different variations on this process, depending on, what it is specifically that you're trying to do, the basic philosophy is always the same. Just like with any sort of electrolysis, right? You're going to have some basin of liquid, probably water, with in this case, some sort of salt and metal ion in there. And you're going to have a cathode and an anode sticking into that liquid somehow. Now recall that the cathode, which is the negative end, is where reduction occurs, and that the anode, which maybe we'll do that in orange, the positive end, is where oxidation occurs in this redox reaction, whatever it is. And recall as well that for electrolysis to work, you have to be hooked up to some sort of battery or other electrical current. That needs to be hooked up to both your cathode and your anode, which in turn have to be placed in the water. Okay, so when you're dealing with electroplating, essentially what you want to do is you want to put a metal of some kind, like silver, or copper, or gold, or whatever it is that you're trying to get plated onto a substance, right? You're going to put a hunk of metal in there. On the other hand, at the other end, right, at your cathode, or essentially what you're going to have, here's a good color for it, is the thing that you are trying to plate. Thing you are plating, right? And essentially what's going to happen, right, is that the metal is going to oxidize. Now let's recall what that means. Let's parse that if we can. Remember the little mnemonic device we came up with earlier, oil rig. So oxidation is loss, the loss of electrons, and reduction is gain, the gain of electrons, right? So when we say that the metal gets oxidized, essentially what we mean is that some of these metals are losing some electrons, and we're getting some positive cations floating around. So let's say, for instance, that we've got some silver, right? If that gets oxidized, we might end up with some silver cations just floating around, right? And what's going to happen is that those silver cations are, you guessed it, going to be attracted to the positive end. They're going to be attracted to the cathode, right? And they are going to settle on the cathode. And that is going to, over time, create a layer of silver over whatever it is that you are trying to plate. Pretty cool, huh? So right after this video, there's an independent video from another guy who's going to show you a couple real examples of electroplating, because I realize that as helpful as this probably is, it's not nearly as cool as watching the real thing in process. So I hope you'll take a quick look at that before moving on to our advanced electrolysis video.